I've learned to accept that you don't love me. I understand that now. Because it's less complicated that way, you see. I don't blame you for your choices and actions. You chose yourself and your ego. I picked a path that would not cripple my mentality, a path that would show me the realistic view of how a man shouldn't be. Somehow, unconditional love got tangled along the way. Promises left hanging between the woman you would choose over me and the faith that one day I could be enough for you. Even when hope fought for our love, I knew a sustained relationship could not be surpassed. I realized that I don't want you to love me. It makes disappointment less surprising. But the thing that's sad about this is you made the choice for me before I even knew it. So again, I don't blame you for your choices and your actions, Dad. It only hurts me because you didn't make your own daughter an option. Thank you.
Different colours in different elements. So why is difference developing in immigrant melanin? My own brother thinks that I am a monster, a result of centuries of divide and conquer. They don't like to sponsor a positive change. Rather parade the face of a waste man who's probably insane. I want hood schools to be failure vacant, but the system's F-tool is alienation. Mainly in Asians, blacks and minorities. To boost the economy, they treat us like property. It's in their interest to charge us interest so they can multiply them notes on the minted press. Don't want our intellect, they want us run down. Feed us the internet until we're dumbed down. But I strike back, the David from the northwest, slingshot rock straight to Goliath's forehead. Thank you very much.
The path to enlightenment leads me with questions that frankly my mind's become frightened with. Am I free or freedom's bitch? Whose perception is forever trapped in the notion of I can do whatever I like and determine my own outcome? Was God's notion of free will or morality simply a ploy to hand out judgment as he sees fit? If so, then the sandals which my mind has worn out. My thoughts marooned in a world whose revolutionary illusion continues to constitute the social freedom and morality of the mass populace. Universal causation strangles the steps taken by many before me. For freedom without morality simply outlines the fundamental flaws of our humanity. And as I take my final steps of redemption, the realms of the divine sketch another matrix with my mind lost in the ocean of nothingness. For the path to enlightenment leads me with questions that I cannot ignore. Thank you. Made you look, made you stare. A drunken barber cut my hair. Patchy head, hairline bent. Last night he was on the bend. Saturday soup simmer seductively. Cho-cho, sweet potato and pumpkin seed. Awake from slumber we enter. Grandma's kitchen is her haven. But she slaps her hands, it never even reached the ladle. Getting up from the table, she puts money in our hands and says, "Boys, your hair go along like sissy girl. It's time to get it trimmed." Me and my brother exchanged grins, knowing that time had come again. Walking past the shop on Broadfield Road, our stroll of shame now underway. Making mockery of misfortunate massacres, our anecdotes always conjured laughter. We crossed the road at the Beehive, and it was thriving with punters despite its time. We arrived at the barbers and the shutters were closed, so Corby leaned out of the window with his bare chest exposed. Coming down the stairs, an unfamiliar blonde girl stood in the frame. I suppose he did always say, "Yeah man, I can fit more than one potato upon my plates." He finally arrives and his breath smells like Appleton's. I get flashbacks of the playground. "Yeah, Reese, whoever cut your hair must have Parkinson's." 20 minutes in, this routine haircut's now becoming a farce. And you know it's not a good thing when the barber says, sorry, oops, then ras. On my way home, I sat on a wall and cried. I asked him for a night tick, but instead, I got a shout back and snides. Thank you.
My grandma once told me, don't go behind no closed door with a man you don't know. He turned to me and closed the door. Human activity that surrounds me besides him is silent, as their minds are still playing with their closed eyes. My grandma once told me, if you can't hear, you will feel, my child. Only if I listened. He turned and closed the door. 2 mirrors, where I live to see my reflection, and the other my ego ceases to smile at its own expression. My grandma once told me, show me your company and I'll tell you who you are. He turned to me and closed the door. Mirrors exchange experiences, from grandmother to granddaughter. My grandma once told me, then he turned and closed the door.
Anger is the suffix of your words, punctuating the air with painful superlatives, moulding me into a crude diminutive. The pragmatic is static, and I can't edit this. Struggling through consonant clusters, getting lost like silent letters, I can't edit this. Learning the grammar of your face when ambiguity is the author of your words. A face in tyranny of the present tense, full stops my questions. This is pointless, like a double negative. I was the antecedent of your love, and now the predicate of distrust. And I can't edit this. As you bracket your smile, our meta language is rewritten in the conditional. I can't edit this. I learn the grammar of your face when Iago is the author of your words. Thank you.
I speak to paper with the fluidity of graphite, skidding through snow-crusted pages, filtering a literal glow, like a watermark upon its pale, white visage, only visible when you hold it up to light, as if joining with the greater good. I shade and cross-hatch hues of black and white, evoking the feeling of viewing life through a pinhole camera, where the confusion of color is covered by shades of gray even harder to decipher. An equality in words. If you're not one, you're the other. Completing chains of thought like pastime Sudoku, yin, not competing with yang, but complementing it. Then divine meter ways down the depth of my page, like the wise words of a wandering sage, the hooves of the galloping dervish stallion impregnate knowledge in wombs of barren minds that bleed and miscarriage half-baked thoughts, till they discover perfect match intellectual sperm donors in the numbered pages of books. They embrace their newfound promiscuity, sleep and spawn with Maya Angelou, Sylvia Plath, Khalil Gibran, the last poets to create hybrid infants. They ponder embryonic thoughts painfully for 9 months. Then water breaks as we push a torrent of ideas, choking lips, clogging orifices, which prove the elasticity of wisdom just discovered as they stretch, as we push, as they stretch, as we push, as they stretch, as we push before giving birth to a bouncing baby muse. She first cries inspiration, then her back hardens with resolves and convictions to be nurtured and furnished by the sweet nectar of imagination. She wails before slurping at the regal teats of a dream as she learns to sit up straight, stands up to take steps from neuron to neuron, creating mental stimulation, completing chains of thought with your take and opinion. That's when I speak to paper with the fluidity of graphite and paint poetry's picture in the distinct hues of grey. Thank you very much.